Okay, good morning. Here is your first ever tour of my Back to Eden garden. We are in our first year. Matter of fact, none of this was here prior to June 1st. So we're very happy with our progress thus far. So I'll give you the walking tour. We have cantaloupes. We have some squash and sunflowers to provide some shade as the summer heats up. Amaranth's doing very well. An extra little cabbage plant. And these are patio tomatoes. Our daughter's youth group at church had a sale on plants to raise money, and they're exceptional plants. They deal with a very good nursery. And they're cucumbers, and I can't decide if it wants to die or if it wants to live, but it's got blooms on it, so I'm gonna be happy with that. Then here in this corner bed there are peppers, a sunflower, my pumpkin's deciding to move in with the neighbors, and these here are turmeric. And I'm, I bought them. I left them in the bag in a dark place for a while. They started to sprout and we planted them, and so far 2 of them have come up. I don't figure the others will, considering it's been a month, but that's how that happens. And there are the pumpkins again. My 9-year-old daughter's onion bed, she planted, that day she planted 2.5 pounds of onions, and then throughout the entire border of the garden she has also planted onions in front of every box. So we're going to have plenty. Looks like they won't be large onions. I don't have luck with that, but we'll have plenty of scallions, little green onions. These are my cabbages. I seem to have come up with quite a few cabbage plants, which is great. We love sauerkraut. These are cauliflower. Rhubarb. One was here when we moved in last October, and we planted another set of rhubarb plants. And we have some kind of a bush I don't recognize. It's going to have to be taken from there. And these are my long-suffering cucumbers that all look like they either want to die or produce heavily. But so I can't decide if it's too little water, too much water, too much shade, not enough shade, or too much full sun. But they look like they're in a perpetual state of death, but they actually seem to be growing well. And here we have some mushrooms that you wouldn't even want to touch, but every once in a while I see 4, 5, 6 pop up in one bed or another, and hey, I'm fine with them being there, and just tell the kids not to mess with them. And here we have another plant, another bed where slugs have taken great advantage of my cabbage, all but this one where the cucumber seems to be giving it a hug, and that's doing fine. And here we have potatoes. This was a 1 pound bag of sets, or not 1 pound, but a 5 pound bag of seed potatoes, and they came up actually fairly quickly. It took about a month to get to this stage, and here the next day or so I'm just gonna finish topping up this box with wood chips, and then as the greenery comes on more, then I'm just gonna start kind of layering in some straw around there to keep it nice and dark underneath. This is going to be strawberries. This whole area, I have grapevine there getting started, and so a grape arbor is actually going to be where along this area, and then this tomato bed won't be here next year. I'm going to move it, and we'll have, this is going to be fruit trees or bushes, and then you know, like a little park-like setting. And here we have a cauliflower who's hiding under the rose bush, and believe it or not, it's the surviving cauliflower from the 4 that were in this bed initially, and my daughter planted out the remainder of her onion sets in some of these beds that only have like one plant. We're having a bit of a situation where as we put this garden together, we had places where we had enough materials to get started, but not enough materials to continue at one point. So I was kind of building and planting at the same time. These are broccoli, and there's a sunflower back there that's started to come up and looks like he's had an encounter with some bugs. And these are potato bins. We had a very fortunate haul from one of the local farm markets and wound up with all of their remaining seed potatoes and all of their remaining onion sets. And this here is a summer squash, and it is loaded with blooms. And these are a variety of tomato called Mr. Ugly, which they do in fact look ugly, but they're also just kind of loaded with blooms. We're very happy about that. Seeing this project come together is just amazing. I never thought, after I got this crazy idea from a video on YouTube, that I would actually put it to use and have it come on so well. So anyway, I'm happy about it. Anyway, these are kohlrabi. This is a month in. They came from small plants that had very fresh true leaves. So they were very small when I put them in, and now a month on, they're making progress. Still battling slugs and bugs, but it's kind of long. And here we got a bag of garlic sets from Walmart, and they're growing just about like you would expect a bag of garlic sets from Walmart to grow. Very little. So I keep trying to encourage them, but if I knew a lot about growing garlic, I'd be in the garlic farming business. And this is asparagus bed, these two, and I have taken just like some odds and ends root vegetable seeds, some beets and radishes and carrots and just kind of scattered, figuring I would just do a chop and drop and let that kind of build the soil a little bit. Toward the end of the season, just whatever grows, let it go to seed and save the seeds. Here is a golden raspberry. It is it's doing very well. It has looked this particular shade of yellow since we put it in, and it started losing leaves probably for 3 or 4 days, and then it turned around and sprouted some new growth. So I'm pretty happy about that. We got our all of our fruit bushes at the garden center. They were marked down 70%, and so we're fortunate there. And there's a little glimpse at my blueberry, which has never turned brown and has put on a little new growth. It didn't seem to really have transplant shock, other than it looked a little, just like maybe it had a hot day. It was a little droopy, and then it picked right back up. And here, of course, are some beans that I stuck in, planning to transplant back over here on the berm. But we're considering doing something else with that. I think we're actually going to go ahead and plant it with strawberries and just make it a, kind of a little piece of orchard